Look at this image. What you are seeing is not a lens flare, not a trick of a light, and not an artistic rendering. That entire structure is the fish's head, and that dome is transparent. It is a fluid-filled viewing port, and beneath it, those twin green spheres are its eyes. This is the Macropinna microstoma, and is evolution's biggest mistake, a terrifyingly efficient one. The Macropinna shatters every expectation we have about protection and vulnerability. For every other organism on Earth, the brain and the sensory organs are encased in bone, shielded by rigid armor. But the Macropinna is different. Its entire cranium is covered by a soft, clear, gelatinous dome. Beneath that delicate shield, you can visually track its entire brain, its optic nerves, and its elaborate muscle structure. This is not a fish. It is a meticulously engineered optical mechanism. At depths of 2,000 to 2,600 feet, where light is a memory and pressures crush bone, this fish operates by trading structural integrity for absolute optical dominance. It sacrificed protection for the ability to see in total, consuming darkness. Its delicacy is intentional. Its vulnerability is the key to its lethal strategy. This animal is not merely surviving. It is a perfect ambush trap, and its design has been perfected over countless millennia in the shadow zone. The Macropinna's true genius lies in its sensory apparatus. It does not possess eyes in the common sense. Instead, it has two massive, bright green tubular eyes. They are fixed, almost cylindrical scopes of extreme density, designed for one purpose: light collection. In the deep ocean, the only light comes from the faint bioluminescence of other organisms, or the extremely diffused ambient light from the surface, the downwelling light. The tubular design allows the Macropinna to maximize the capture of every single photon available, giving it an unparalleled upward-facing view. The eyes are the instruments, but the transparent dome is the housing. This fluid-filled cavity protects the ultra-sensitive eyes from the stinging cells of siphonophores, which are common food sources, and from the immense hydrodynamic pressure of its environment. But its primary function is to act as a colossal, uninterrupted lens. Imagine wearing a helmet made of crystal-clear water. Everything is sharp, clear, and perfectly magnified. The Macropinna hangs suspended in the dark, its body invisible to anything below, while its green tubular eyes scan the ceiling of the ocean, searching for the faintest silhouette of prey drifting above it. It looks perpetually upward, a biological security camera scanning the heavens for doom. This constant, upward vigilance is the most unsettling aspect of its anatomy. It is not looking for danger, it is only looking for dinner. But here is where the terror truly manifests. The Macropinna can rotate its eyes. The Macropinna's hunting method is the definition of ruthless patience. It employs a strategy known as sit-and-wait predation, but perfected to a terrifying degree. It achieves neutral buoyancy and hangs motionless in the midwater column. Its dark, counter-shaded body blends entirely into the gloom below, making it utterly invisible to prey above. It is a ghost in the water. Its head, protected by the clear dome, is tilted slightly upward, its tubular eyes locked on the faint, diffuse sunlight filtering down. Prey often consists of small crustaceans, copepods, and critically, siphonophores, long, dangerous chains of stinging organisms. These creatures are easy targets, but hard to spot. When a potential meal, a small fish or a drifting invertebrate, is silhouetted against the minimal light source above, the Macropinna tracks it with silent, unnerving precision. The fish then slowly, imperceptibly, maneuvers itself directly beneath the prey. It is a slow-motion stalk that is the antithesis of the frantic chase. It waits until the prey is perfectly aligned directly above its jaws. Then the final explosive move. In a fraction of a second, the Macropinna flips its tubular eyes forward. The large green cylinders, which moments before were pointing straight up, pivot to face directly ahead through the transparent dome, allowing the fish to precisely aim its strike. The fish lunges, not with speed, but with devastating accuracy, engulfing the prey in its small, yet efficient mouth. It is a flash of brutal violence following a long period of chilling ineffectualness. The Macropinna doesn't need speed, it needs certainty. The transparent head guarantees it. The rotating eyes guarantee it. It is an ambush predator that never misses its target, exploiting an optical loophole in the permanent twilight zone. This delicate-looking machine, this biological anomaly with a visible brain, is one of the most effective and least understood killers in the entire deep-sea column. The Macropinna microstoma forces us to discard the laws of evolutionary sense. Its head is a crystal ball, its eyes are twin scopes, and its method is pure, unadulterated efficiency. It is vulnerable, yet it is invincible in its niche. Is passive, yet is deadly. Is just one of the nightmare mechanisms that exist where the rules of life break down. The Macropina is the first exhibit in a collection of deep-sea monsters that should not exist, creatures that will challenge your understanding of what life can become when the sun vanishes entirely. If a fish with a clear dome for a head and rotating green scopes for eyes is just the beginning, imagine what else is waiting in the depths below. We just saw one of the rarest fish in the world, and this is just the beginning. Imagine what's coming next. Now it's time to move on to creatures that should be extinct. One of them is over 66 million years old and still swims in our oceans. Get ready, because these are the 8 sea creatures that should be extinct but are still swimming. You believe the ocean is a place of modern evolution. You believe that the great titans, the Megalodon, the Pliosaur, are gone, sealed away forever by extinction events. You believe that the life swimming today is the pinnacle of biological design. You are fundamentally wrong. Today we start the countdown. We're going to explore the top 8 of the deepest, darkest monsters that time forgot. We will reveal the creatures whose existence proves that the ocean is far more ancient and lethal than we can imagine. We're going to start the clock right now. I will leave you with a chilling fact. The monster in our number 3 spot was officially declared extinct by the scientific community for 66 million years, and you have seen it alive in video. This is the countdown of impossible biology, ordered from the merely strange to the utterly terrifying. Let's begin. Number 8, the vampire squid. We begin our technical countdown with a creature that embodies the ultimate strategy of deep-sea defense, the vampire squid. This is not a hunter of the abyss. It is the living nightmare of defense whose design has remained unchanged for nearly 300 million years, tracing its roots back to the Mesozoic era. The scientific name of this creature is Vampirotuthis infernalis, literally translating to the vampire squid from hell, and its appearance lives up to the name. It is a small, soft-bodied cephalopod that exists in the oxygen minimum zone, a layer of the ocean so deprived of oxygen that most other life cannot survive there. This is its perfect, uninhabitable sanctuary. Its genius lies in its defense mechanism, which is not speed or venom, but absolute visual terror. When threatened, the vampire squid uses its 8 arms, which are connected by a dark, cloak-like membrane, to pull its mantle completely over its head. This maneuver turns the creature into a spiny, red-eyed, jet-black ball of pure intimidation. Its body is lined with bioluminescent organs that it can flash to create dazzling, disorienting displays, confusing predators instantly. Crucially, the vampire squid does not waste precious oxygen reserves fighting or fleeing. It remains still, cloaked, using its low metabolism to outlast the threat in the oxygen-poor water. Its perfection is found in its simplicity, a creature so well adapted to its deadly, low-oxygen niche that the competitive pressures that drove other cephalopods to evolve were simply irrelevant. Its design was perfect for its domain from the start, making it an ancient, silent sentinel of the dark zone. The vampire squid masters defensive terror in the darkness. But our next monster is a haunting reminder that the greatest terror often comes in the form of an inescapable, gaping maw, a biological black hole whose design is a testament to the simplicity of ancient predation. Hey, subscribe now. Number 7, the Gulper EL. Our final introductory creature is a testament to the extreme evolutionary pressures of the deep, the Gulper eel. This is the jaw of absolute necessity, a monster whose terrifying, unhinged design has been perfectly preserved since the earliest oceanic eras. The Gulper eel, or Sacopharynx, is an inhabitant of the bathyal zone, an area where food is desperately scarce. Its existence hinges on one single, devastating biological feature, its monstrous, hinged mouth. The Gulper eel's jaw is disproportionately huge. It can unhinge and stretch so wide that it can swallow prey larger than its own body. Its tiny body is simply an appendix to its colossal, elastic maw. This creature's design has not changed because in the harsh environment of the deep sea, the ability to consume any possible meal that appears is the ultimate survival strategy. Every meal is a massive risk, and the Gulper eel is built to capitalize on that risk entirely. Its huge dark mouth, lined with tiny backward-curving teeth, operates as a biological black hole, guaranteeing that no encounter is ever survived. Furthermore, its skeletal structure is incredibly light, almost vestigial. It saves energy by reducing bone mass, dedicating nearly all its material resources to the massive jaw and the expandable stomach. This is a creature where evolution decided that maximum capacity was the only metric that mattered. It is an ancient design that is both fragile and devastatingly effective, a living testament to the ruthless economics of the deep. The gulper eel proves that when the simple act of eating is a battle for survival, the most perfect design is often the most monstrous. If creatures like the gulper eel were the perfect, specialized consumers of the deep, we must ask, what was the absolute, fundamental base layer of survival that all life, even in the shallows, relied upon? That terrifying foundation is our number 6. Number 6, the horseshoe crab. We begin our journey into deep time with the simplest, yet one of the most resilient, designs in biological history, the horseshoe crab. This is not just an ancient creature, this is the tank of 450 million years. The horseshoe crab's lineage dates back to the Ordovician period, predating dinosaurs, trees, and even most land life. For comparison, it was alive when most advanced life forms were simple fish and corals. And here is the terrifying part. Its design has never fundamentally changed. Its massive helmet-like carapace, its array of 10 simple eyes, and its spiny tail, or telson, are a testament to perfect, armored survival. This creature has survived all 5 of the planet's mass extinction events. The asteroid impact that wiped out the dinosaurs? The horseshoe crab simply shrugged it off. It is an armored relic, a living fossil whose longevity proves that simplicity and robust defense often trump complex evolutionary arms races. Beyond its ancient armor, its biology holds another secret: blue blood. Its copper-based blood, containing a specialized clotting agent, is so effective at fighting bacteria that it is now essential to modern medicine for testing the sterility of vaccines and surgical tools. Its internal chemistry is literally worth millions of dollars. The horseshoe crab is the ultimate armored survivor, so successful that humanity relies on its ancient biology for its own survival. If the horseshoe crab is the tank of evolution, a creature whose armor outlasted everything, the next organism is the ghost. A deep-sea nightmare that separated itself from the shark lineage before the dinosaurs even existed. Number 5, the ghost shark. Next, we descend into the cold, black depths to find a creature that looks like a forgotten mythological beast, the chimera, often called the ghost shark or ratfish. This is the phantom of 400 million years. The chimera is a relative of modern sharks, skates, and rays, but its lineage branched off from the main shark family tree over 400 million years ago. This creature existed in the Devonian period, the age of fish, long before the first reptile crawled onto land. It is the very definition of a living fossil. Its appearance is pure nightmare fuel. It possesses an elongated, grotesque profile, often with a pointed, cartilaginous snout that gives it a strange, ghoulish face. Its 2 large, luminous green or black eyes are perfectly adapted for collecting the faintest light in the abyssal zone where it lives. Instead of the overlapping scales found on sharks, its skin is smooth and rubbery, giving it an ethereal, phantom-like quality. The chimera's unique features, such as the large, venomous spine located in front of its dorsal fin and its tapering, whip-like tail, demonstrate that the basic architectural plan for deep-sea terror was perfected during the Paleozoic era. It didn't need to change its design because its dark, crushing habitat never did. It is a creature that proves that the concept of the ghoulish, deep-dwelling terror was written into the evolutionary blueprint 500 million years ago. It is a silent, perfectly adapted sentinel of the eternal night. We have seen the impenetrable armor and the silent, ghoulish phantom. But the next creature is a terrifying hybrid, a monster that proves ancient terror often hides behind the most deceptive form. Direct from the Jurassic period, we present a monster that confirms the reality of sea serpents. Number 4, the frilled shark, Chlamydocelicus anguineus. Our number 4 spot is a creature whose existence reminds us that the monster myths of sailors are based on a chilling reality, the frilled shark. This is the serpent of Jurassic gills. This creature's lineage extends back at least 150 million years to the Jurassic period, a time when massive marine reptiles ruled the shallow seas. The frilled shark's body structure is what makes it a living fossil, an elongated, eel-like body that allows it to contort and strike like a snake. It is a terrifying biological anomaly that resembles the sea serpents found in medieval illuminated manuscripts. Its most notable feature is its 6 pairs of frilly gills, which surround its neck like a terrifying collar, giving it its name. But the real horror is inside its mouth. The frilled shark possesses over 300 backward-facing, needle-sharp teeth, arranged in 25 rows. These teeth are not designed for cutting flesh. They are designed to act as a perfect, inescapable trap. When a frilled shark strikes, its elastic jaw snaps shut, and the inward-pointing needles of teeth ensure that any slippery prey, squid or smaller fish, can only move one way, deeper into its throat. It is an ambush predator perfectly adapted to strike in the darkness, ensuring that once a meal is caught, escape is a biological impossibility. The frilled shark is a terrifying testament to evolutionary inertia. Its design was so effective for hunting fast, deep-sea prey that the pressures of extinction simply bypassed it. It swims today deep in the dark, a living reminder that the monsters of maritime folklore are very much real. These three are the warm-up. But what comes next is the irrefutable, catastrophic proof that we know nothing about the ocean. We are now entering the zone where science breaks, where extinction fails, and where creatures literally walk out of the fossil record. The story begins with the monster that humanity declared officially extinct. But first, subscribe to BeastFlix now. Let's keep going. Number 3. The coelacanth. The most famous failure of extinction, and our first truly impossible monster, is the coelacanth. This is the dead creature that walked, a colossal failure of the geological clock. The coelacanth lineage dominated the shallow seas during the age of dinosaurs, peaking during the Cretaceous period. Scientists believe that this lobe-finned fish, the ancestral blueprint for every land-walking vertebrate, had been annihilated along with the dinosaurs 66 million years ago. Its bones were fossilized, its history concluded. Then came the discovery, in 1938. Off the coast of South Africa, a fishing trawler pulled up a massive, bluish fish that defied all known biology. It was the coelacanth, alive and swimming. The scientific shockwave was immense. It was the biological equivalent of finding a living Tyrannosaurus rex in the jungle. Its discovery instantly invalidated decades of evolutionary theory and opened the door to the wildest cryptid theories of the deep. The true horror of the coelacanth lies in its lobe fins. These muscular, bone-supported fins are the ancestral blueprint for the limbs of all land animals. The coelacanth uses them in a slow, alternating motion, giving it the appearance of a fish that walks along the sea floor. This slow, deliberate movement is a relic of the transition from water to land, perfectly preserved in a deep-sea environment that never changed. Its existence proved that the oceans are the ultimate sanctuary, capable of hiding and sustaining creatures that the rest of the planet assumes are dust. The coelacanth is the 66-million-year-old ghost of the dinosaur era, and its survival guarantees that other, extinct monsters are still out there. If the coelacanth is the ghost of the dinosaurs, the next monster is the biological alien. It is so bizarre, so pink, and its hunting mechanism is so physically impossible that it simply does not look like it belongs on this planet. This is the shark that doesn't bite you. It literally shoots its face at you. Number 2. The goblin shark, Mitsukurina ostoni. Our number 2 spot is a creature that truly looks like a nightmare pulled from a void, the goblin shark. This is the projectile nightmare of 125 million years. The goblin shark's lineage dates back to the early Cretaceous period, making it a living relic whose bizarre design has not changed since the age of the giant marine reptiles. Living in the deep bathyal zone, it has evolved into a creature that barely resembles a shark at all. Its physical appearance is grotesque. Its skin is a soft, flabby, sickly pink color due to the visible blood vessels beneath its transparent skin. Its snout is a massively elongated, flat blade that extends far beyond its jaws, resembling a fleshy pickaxe. This strange snout is covered in sensory organs, allowing it to detect the faint electrical fields of its prey in absolute darkness. But the most terrifying feature is its projectile jaw. The goblin shark is an ambush predator. When it detects prey, its jaw muscles contract with incredible speed, launching its entire upper and lower jaw structure out of its mouth and forward toward the prey. This mechanism, capable of speeds up to 3 meters per second, allows the shark to snag prey without moving its body. It is a biological harpoon gun, a perfect ambush design that never needed to evolve because it was already flawless for its deep-sea hunting environment. The goblin shark is a testament to the fact that when a design is perfect for its niche, time ceases to be a factor. It is a truly alien, grotesque spectacle, a creature that proves the absolute depths of the ocean hold life that is far beyond the nightmares of the surface world. We have reached the absolute pinnacle of our list. The number one spot is not the creature with the most massive jaws, nor the most famous predator. It is the most terrifying monster because of its sheer simplicity, resilience, and success. It is an insect that has survived every single era. This is the final design of survival itself. Number 1. The giant isopod, Bathynomus giganteus. The absolute monarch of evolutionary stability, and our number 1 living fossil is the giant isopod. This is the final survival, the armored insect. The giant isopod is not a shark or a fish. It is a massive crustacean, essentially a colossal, deep-sea relative of the common terrestrial pillbug or roly-poly. Its lineage extends back to the Cambrian explosion, making it an ancient arthropod, a true relic of the deep. This creature's size is horrifying. It can reach lengths of over 70 centimeters and weigh nearly 2 kilograms. It looks precisely like a gargantuan, armored sea cockroach. But its terror is not in its size, it is in its perfection. The giant isopod is the ultimate scavenger and survivor. It lives in the crushing pressures of the abyssal zone, where food is scarce and competition is minimal. Its body is covered in heavy, segmented, calcareous armor that makes it almost impervious to attack. Its metabolism is incredibly slow, is known to survive for years without feeding, simply dropping down to the sea floor to feast on the massive carcasses of whales or fish that fall from the surface. Its design has not changed because it achieved ultimate survival efficiency over 250 million years ago. Patience, armor, and the ability to feast on the remains of others, this perfect, horrific simplicity makes the giant isopod the most successful, most enduring monster on this list. It is the final word in resilience, a living, armored insect that laughs at the face of every extinction event that has ever occurred. If confronting these deep-sea survivors made you look twice at the water, then this expedition is far from over. Hit that subscribe button to BeastFlix now. We've seen the silent ambushers and the forgotten survivors. But the ocean always builds something bigger, something that feeds on fear itself. What happens when the abyss gives birth to predators so powerful they actively challenge the greatest shark in history? Next, the true titans of the sea, the beasts that make Megalodon tremble. We all know the name Megalodon, a magnificent, enormous shark. A legendary predator, yes, but its size was actually average next to the true sea monarchs. Megalodon was a predator. The creatures we will show you were gods. They were massive, impossible engines of destruction operating in an ancient ocean built on an entirely different set of physical laws. Their existence changes everything we thought we knew about life on this planet. We know that you clicked on this video because you believe the biggest animal on Earth is the blue whale. 30 meters long, 200 tons of muscle and blubber. It's the largest creature alive today. It is the peak of planetary size. But here's the problem. This animal is an insect. It is a soft, delicate snack, a mere piece of plankton compared to the absolute, terrifying titans that ruled the ancient oceans. We are not talking about simple big animals. We are talking about biological impossibilities. Let's begin the countdown of the 4 greatest titans that prove the blue whale is nothing more than a soft target. Titan number 4, Leadsichthys. To begin the true scale of terror, we must first determine the biological maximum of the ancient sea. We need to find the largest creature the water column could possibly sustain. This benchmark is set by a creature that was not a hunter, but a vast, moving monument of life, the great filter feeder, Leadsichthys problematicus. This creature existed in the Jurassic period over 165 million years ago. Its nearest living analog today is the whale shark, a massive but harmless filter feeder. But the size difference is staggering. While the modern whale shark tops out at around 12 to 18 meters, the Leadsichthys dwarfs it. The fossil record of Leadsichthys is famously fragmentary and difficult to analyze. Its skeleton was largely composed of cartilage, a soft tissue that rarely fossilizes well. This fragility meant that only the densest bone structures and specialized tissues, like the immense gill rakers, survive. Initial, cautious estimates place the length of this fish at 16 to 18 meters. But as more fragmented fossils were discovered and accurately mapped, a disturbing pattern emerged. The curvature and thickness of the preserved gill rakers, the filtering apparatus essential for its survival, suggested a fish of truly unprecedented girth and length. Paleontologists were forced to radically recalculate the dimensions, eventually confirming that the largest individuals reached estimated lengths of 27 meters. Even more shocking, serious, peer-reviewed estimates, based on the growth rates of its vertebral structures and extrapolations from its massive skull plates, push this creature potentially beyond the 30-meter mark, comfortably exceeding the absolute maximum length of the largest recorded blue whales. But its size alone is not the horror. Its size reveals the ecological engine of the ancient world. Leadsichthys was a massive bony fish existing in warm, shallow, highly productive seas. Its massive size was not for heat retention like the blue whale. Its size was a direct necessity of its environment. It required that impossible bulk simply to house the gigantic internal filtration system needed to process enough plankton to sustain its life. It was a 40-ton, constant-moving, living filtration factory, proving that the ancient oceans contained a reservoir of biomass exponentially greater than anything we observe today. Think about the sheer gravitational pressure of its existence. It was a massive, slow-moving, defenseless meal drifting through the water column. It was a colossal, soft-bodied organism that was incapable of any meaningful defense against attack. Its presence demanded, guaranteed, the evolution of an equally massive, overwhelming predator. If a creature of this scale could exist merely to eat, what was the scale of the horror that evolved to eat? Leadsichthys, the gentle giant, is the living benchmark of ancient ocean possibility. It proves the water could sustain this impossible size, validating the structural integrity for larger, denser organisms. But every massive buffet requires an executioner. The next monster was a cold-blooded, absolute king that looked at this easy meal and saw only its right to consume. The ocean always finds a way to balance the scale. The next creature was a biological executioner that made the sea its eternal kingdom. Hey, do you want to see more monsters? Subscribe now to BeastFlix. Titan number 3, Basilosaurus isis. While Pliosaurus funke represented sheer brute force, the history of the ocean's gods includes a chapter dedicated to terrifying, calculating intelligence. We must look to the Eocene epoch, approximately 40 million years ago, to find the creature that redefined cunning and efficiency in marine predation, the Basilosaurus isis. The Basilosaurus was, technically, an early form of whale, but do not mistake it for the gentle giants of today. This was a serpentine engine of hunger, a creature whose body stretched up to 20 meters in length. It was long, slender, and hydrodynamic, perfectly adapted for immense speed and agility in the warmer, shallow seas that preceded the modern ocean. Basilosaurus was not the densest titan, but its horror lay in its method and intelligence. Its elongated, almost eel-like body structure allowed it to move with a speed and flexibility that defied its immense size. Unlike the Mosasaurus, which relied on overwhelming force, Basilosaurus relied on tactical, strategic terror. Its skull was relatively large, housing a sophisticated brain for the time, and its teeth were the perfect evolutionary compromise, large, pointed, and sharp at the front for piercing, transitioning to powerful, jagged serrated teeth at the rear for shearing bone. Paleontological evidence, specifically bone beds in the Valley of the Whales, confirms its dietary specialization. It hunted the juvenile forms of other massive ancient whales, including the giant Dorodon. Basilosaurus systematically destroyed the next generation of its competitors. It would use its speed and agility to penetrate the nursery lagoons, separating and destroying the vulnerable calves before the massive adults could react. This was not a mindless chomp, it was a calculated campaign of ecological control. The Basilosaurus represents a different flavor of ancient terror, intelligent, persistent, and specialized destruction. It demonstrates that the ancient ocean demanded not only raw power, but also strategic genius to survive. It was the great serpentine shadow that taught every other creature the ultimate rule. No place, not even the breeding grounds, was safe. Its reign was a persistent, decade-spanning horror that solidified its place as a god of strategic predation. Its eventual extinction was due to massive environmental shifts that favored shorter, bulkier whale bodies for diving. But for millions of years, this serpent of intelligence was the most feared sight on the horizon. It proves that terror in the ancient ocean came in many forms: overwhelming crush, absolute dominance, and cold, precise tactical slaughter. It was the serpent king of the warm shallows. But as the oceans changed and the world moved toward the Cretaceous, the serpent was replaced by a more massive, more structurally powerful lizard that became the true, absolute monarch of the deep. Titan number 2, Mosasaurus hoffmanii. The Jurassic passed, giving way to the Cretaceous, and the biological balance shifted from passive size to aggressive dominance. The new monarch was not a fish or a whale, but a colossal, hypercarnivorous reptile, the Mosasaurus hoffmanii. This animal was the Armageddon lizard, a creature of total, absolute command. It did not rely on the simple length of lead signals. Its structure was built for dense, relentless aggression. Its average length ranged from 15 to 18 meters, but unlike the streamlined, relatively light blue whale, Mosasaurus was pure muscle and heavy bone. It was a hydrodynamic missile, a powerful, serpentine body built for short bursts of overwhelming, brutal violence. The scientific literature confirms its status as the unquestioned apex predator of the Cretaceous. Its head was a massive, reinforced weapon, housing teeth that were not designed for tearing flesh, but for shearing through bone and armor. It was an opportunistic killer with a terrifyingly broad diet, including giant ammonites, large fish, sharks, and the massive, armored turtles that survived the earlier eras. But the most profound horror lies in its feeding mechanics. Mosasaurus possessed two terrifying adaptations that guaranteed the destruction of its prey. First, the double-hinged lower jaw, similar to a terrestrial snake, allowed its mouth to open far wider than its skull suggests, enabling it to swallow massive chunks of prey whole. Second, deep in its throat, it housed a second set of inward curving pterygoid teeth. These teeth acted as a living ratchet, constantly gripping and dragging the massive victim down toward the digestive system, making escape literally impossible. Imagine the encounter. A modern blue whale, for all its immense mass, is a warm-blooded, air-breathing mammal with fragile jaw and skull structures. The Mosasaurus would launch itself, using its dense, powerful tail and flukes, and clamp down with a vice-like grip on a whale's neck or massive tail flukes. It would use its dense musculature to maintain a grip, preventing the whale from reaching the surface. The massive pressure and the ratcheting action of the pterygoid teeth would lead to structural failure, drowning, and absolute consumption. The blue whale would be utterly overpowered by this dense, cold-blooded engine of war. The Mosasaurus lineage ruled for millions of years with an efficiency that eliminated ecological competition. It was the absolute, final word in marine reptile evolution. Its extinction was not a slow decline. It was a violent, instantaneous cessation caused by the Chicxulub impact, which destroyed the ecosystem it needed to survive. Mosasaurus was the king of length, density, and ruthless biological ingenuity. Established dominance through structural perfection. But before the rise of the Armageddon lizard, there was a king that taught the ocean the final lesson, the lesson of unfettered, crushing power. A creature whose weapon was not merely its bite, but the raw, instantaneous force behind that bite. This is the creature whose existence truly proves the blue whale is structurally weak, a delicate collection of bones waiting to be instantly pulverized. Titan number 1, Pliosaurus funke. We travel back to the ultimate moment of oceanic terror in the late Jurassic, where the undisputed master of pure power reigned, the short-necked pliosaur known by its chilling scientific and popular names, Pliosaurus funke, or simply Predator X. This creature was not designed for length or speed, it was designed for maximum kinetic energy delivery. It was an armored torpedo, built like a swimming tank with a massive, reinforced skull constituting nearly 1/5 of its total body length. While its estimated length of 10 to 12 meters made it shorter than both the Mosasaurus and the blue whale, its weight, girth, and density were phenomenal. Its entire compact structure, powerful, short neck for massive flippers and robust vertebrae, was dedicated to generating and channeling energy into one single, catastrophic point, the mouth. This is where the science becomes truly terrifying. We must confront the most horrifying number in the world of paleontology, the bite force calculation of Predator X. We know the blue whale has no teeth. The great white shark manages around 4,000 psi. The megalodon, the shark we all fear, generated up to 40,000 psi. The Pliosaurus funke, analyzing the size of its jaw adductor muscles, the thickness of its skull, and the size of its mandibular hinges, generated an estimated bite force of an astronomical 50,000 to 70,000 psi. This figure is conservatively projected, and in reality, may have been far higher. This immense pressure is difficult to comprehend, but it had one devastating, singular purpose: instantaneous, complete structural collapse. A modern blue whale, for all its mass, would be instantly dispatched. Predator X would not need to chase or wound its prey. It would simply clamp down on the whale's skull, the massive spinal column, or the ribcage with a single, massive force. The 70,000 psi impact would instantly shatter the bone structure, causing immediate death through hydrostatic shock and structural failure. Its teeth, massive, blunt, and triangular, were not designed for tearing. They were designed for piercing and crushing the heaviest skeletons of the era. The blue whale, in the presence of this animal, is not a meal, it is plankton. Its entire 200-ton body mass is reduced to an easily digestible slurry of bone and blubber. Its existence is undeniable proof that the Jurassic oceans were so competitive and so populated with massive, armored prey that the ultimate survival strategy was to evolve a jaw capable of delivering a single, guaranteed kill. Predator X was the perfect biological engine of destruction. This perfect, compact design also forces us to consider the existential question of its disappearance. The plesiosaur's structure, dense bone, massive muscle, and high-pressure capability is perfectly suited to withstand the deep ocean. Unlike the shallow water-dependent Megalodon or the massive Mosasaurus, the plesiosaur's bulk and metabolic needs could have allowed it to retreat below the critical depths. Subscribe to BeastFlix. The Titans are real, but you don't need a submarine to find the evidence. The deepest trenches are now discarding their mistakes directly onto our shores. We have compiled the chilling, raw proof. Next, the unclassified terrors and unsolved cases of the monsters washed up on beaches. For decades, the true terror of the deep was locked away in abyssal trenches, far beyond the reach of light and man. But now it is localized, is under your feet. The currents are shifting, the deep is dying, and the ocean is discarding its mistakes, monsters, errors, and biological nightmares directly onto your beach. The sea is sending you a warning. We are talking about biological anomalies so mutated, so bizarre, that they defy all known scientific classification. To prove it, we start with the most extreme evidence, the absolute climax of coastal horror, the classified creature of Venezuela. The only existing photograph of this nameless monster comes from a witness on a remote, jungle-choked island called Cayo Muerto, literally, Dead Cay. The witness, who vanished shortly after the discovery, left behind one single haunting image, a silent photo that captured a new, terrifying species. This is our journey. We are going to expose the most terrifying, unclassified biological anomalies ever documented on coastlines worldwide. We will show you the fish that walks, the crab that farms its own food, and the shapeless leviathans that prove something gigantic is dying unseen. Our ultimate destination is the creature from Cayo Muerto, the final, unnamed monster whose existence is only verified by that single, chilling, clean photograph. You must watch until the very end to see the full, terrifying story of the creature that science cannot explain. Let's begin. 1. The Yeti Crab. We begin our exposure with a creature that looks less like an organism and more like a failed experiment, a biological mutant hauled from a toxic waste pit. We present the Yeti Crab. This monster's normal habitat is thousands of meters down, near hydrothermal vents, volcanic cracks in the sea floor. These environments are high pressure, high temperature, and sulfur-rich, toxic to almost all surface life. But occasionally, due to thermal currents or massive tectonic shifts, specimens have been pushed into shallower, colder currents, only to be washed ashore, giving us a terrifying glimpse into its alien world. The Yeti crab is instantly shocking to the eye. It is completely blind, having lost the need for sight in the eternal darkness. Lacking all pigmentation, its shell is a ghostly, sickly white. The true horror comes from its signature feature. Its entire body, especially its massive claws and legs, is covered in dense, thick, blonde white setae, hair-like filaments. These hairs are not fur for warmth. They're specialized structures used to farm colonies of chemosynthetic bacteria. Think about that for a second. It literally farms its own food on its own arms. It harvests the energy from the poisonous sulfur compounds released by the vents, a completely alien method of energy production. This bizarre, white, hairy design makes it an organism that should not exist in any ecosystem we understand. It is a creature whose body is designed to survive in an environment that is pure poison. Its presence on the shore, dead and bleached by the sun, is a chilling reminder that the currents of the ocean occasionally drag these biological errors from their volcanic sanctuaries and deliver them right to your local beach. It is a warning from the deep. The mutants are closer than you think, and they live off poison. The Yeti crab proves the deep is full of specialized, hairy monsters. But the next creature is definitive proof that the sea is a laboratory of complete, bizarre contradiction. It looks like a ridiculous joke, but its biology is a masterclass in patient, bizarre lethality. 2. The red-lipped batfish. Our second monster is a perfect example of the ocean's terrifying, often ridiculous sense of humor. This is the red-lipped batfish, the fish that walks. Found primarily in the deep waters surrounding the Galapagos Islands, this creature occasionally washes ashore, presenting one of the strangest biological sights ever documented. Its body is flattened, armored, and covered in strange, bony protuberances, giving it an oddly triangular, rigid, almost disc-like shape. It is a literal pancake of evolutionary error. The first thing that paralyzes the mind is its mouth. The batfish possesses two brilliant, unnaturally red, pouting lips. They are so bright, so prominent, that it looks as if it were deliberately painted by a surrealist artist to mock the concept of a fish. But beneath the ridiculous appearance is a biological nightmare of patience. The batfish does not swim well. It is, in fact, an atrocious swimmer. Instead, it uses its specially adapted pectoral fins, which are thick, muscular, and look like stubby arms, to walk across the seafloor. It literally crawls across the sand and volcanic rock with a slow, deliberate gait, using its fins like terrestrial limbs. This locomotion method is a shocking divergence from the standard rules of fish biology. Its predatory strategy is equally baffling. It possesses an elysium, a lure that protrudes from its forehead. This lure emits a highly specific, chemical scent that attracts small prey, which it then ambushes. It is a slow walking trap. The contrast between its absurd, clownish face and its terrifying, patient predatory behavior makes it a perfect example of the ocean's ultimate disregard for aesthetic norms. It is a walking, brightly painted absurdity that has perfectly evolved to ambush, wait, and consume. We have seen the hairy mutant and the brightly painted walking fish. Now we confront the terrifying perfection of camouflage that lurks just beneath the shallow water, the monster you simply cannot see. 3. The hairy frogfish. We move from the obvious strangeness of the walking batfish to the terrifying perfection of camouflage that lurks just beneath the shallow water, the hairy frogfish. This is the master of deception, a monster that exists in shallow reef systems, right where you think you are safe, but is utterly invisible until it attacks. The frogfish lineage is ancient, but this particular species has refined the art of ambush to an apex level. It is a creature of pure disguise. Its entire body is covered in fleshy, hairy spines and filaments, giving it the appearance of a mossy rock, a piece of coral, or rotting algae. It uses this extreme camouflage to remain perfectly motionless, blending seamlessly into its background. The horror is in the realization that you have likely swum past dozens of these predators without ever knowing it. Its hunting method is brutally efficient. Like the batfish, it uses modified pectoral fins to walk or hop clumsily along the seabed. However, its signature weapon is the esca, a modified dorsal spine that acts as a fishing lure, wiggling enticingly to draw prey closer. When a fish or crab is within range, the frogfish executes the fastest bite in the entire animal kingdom. Its jaws expand and it can engulf prey in under 6 milliseconds, a speed so fast that the movement is impossible for the human eye to perceive. Furthermore, this creature is a gluttonous terror. Its stomach and mouth are highly elastic, allowing it to devour prey that is often twice its own body size. It is a small, waiting biological black hole that looks like a piece of the furniture you should ignore. Its existence proves that the most immediate, unclassified threats are often the ones you simply cannot see. Did the hairy frogfish's 6 millisecond strike surprise you? Hit like and subscribe now. But our next creature is the pure, primal horror of the coastal rocks. A massive, hidden serpent that proves two jaws are always deadlier than one. 4. The giant moray eel. Our next case takes us into the dark, shadowed crevices and caves of the coastal shelf, the places where the ocean's raw, reptilian power hides. We introduce the giant moray eel. This is the nightmare of the crevice. Moray eels are already visually terrifying, with their massive, muscular bodies, lack of scales, and needle-sharp teeth. The giant moray, however, pushes this primal fear to its limit. It can reach lengths of over 3 meters and weigh up to 30 kilograms, giving it a heavy, reptilian presence in the coastal shadows. Its appearance is a direct link to the mythical sea serpents that terrify coastal folklore. The true deep-seated biological terror of the moray eel, however, is a scientific discovery that shattered our understanding of its predatory nature, the pharyngeal jaw. Unlike all other fish, the moray eel possesses 2 sets of jaws. After the main jaws clamp down, a second hidden set of bony jaws shoots forward from its throat, grabbing the immobilized prey and dragging it backward into its digestive tract. It is a biological horror movie, a predator that bites you twice in one attack. This dual-jaw system gives the moray eel unparalleled gripping and swallowing power, perfect for dragging large prey deep into its rocky lair. When found washed ashore, their sheer size and terrifying double-jawed grin are a chilling reminder that the hidden caves and cracks beneath the safety of the dock are the breeding grounds for these powerful, primeval ambush predators. We have seen the camouflaged predator and the double-jawed serpent. Now we must confront the shapeless horror, the evidence that something titanic is dying unseen, leaving behind only an unidentifiable massive corpse. 5. The globster. The globster is not a specific species. It is a terrifying classification of dread. It is the shapeless beast, the biological garbage left behind when something truly massive and unclassified dies in the deep and is then carried by currents to the shore. Globsters are huge, amorphous masses of non-bony organic tissue, often bleached white, pink, or sickening gray, that wash up on shores worldwide. Because they lack eyes, skeletons, or identifiable organs, they defy immediate scientific classification. The sudden appearance of these massive, rotting forms has fueled centuries of cryptozoological theories, with some claiming they were the remains of gargantuan squid, unclassified plesiosaurs, or even ancient, unknown species of colossal whale. The real, paralyzing horror of the globster is its volume. These masses can weigh several tons, often requiring heavy construction equipment just to move them. If a globster is confirmed to be highly decayed blubber and collagen, a possibility confirmed in many cases like the famous Chilean globster or the St. Augustine monster, implies the death of a truly colossal whale or a species of shark far larger than the largest great white. The original organism had to be an absolute leviathan. However, the scientific terror lies in the uncertainty. Some globsters, due to their strange, highly fibrous composition and unique protein structures, simply cannot be identified through current DNA sequencing. They are filed as unknown protein matrix. This means that creatures of massive, unclassified size are dying out there, creatures that science has never seen alive, never named, and whose final, rotting remnants are now washing up on your beach. The globster is the ocean's perfect, silent proof that gigantic, unclassified life is expiring just beyond the horizon, and we are left only with its horrifying, unidentifiable corpse. The next monster we will show you is smaller, but its lethality is astronomical. It is a creature that defies the laws of chemistry, a biological weapon that uses stolen poison. 6. The blue dragon. Our next case proves that the most lethal terror often comes in the smallest, most beautiful, and most chemically terrifying package. We present the blue dragon, the sea slug of stolen poison. This creature is small, rarely exceeding 3 centimeters in length, but its lethality is astronomical. It is a pelagic sea slug, floating near the surface, where it is often washed up on beaches worldwide, where it resembles a delicate, iridescent blue and silver floating piece of jewelry. Its beauty is a distraction from its absolute capacity for pain. But this beauty hides a monstrous biological secret that violates the rules of chemistry. The blue dragon is immune to, and feeds exclusively on, the most lethally venomous marine life on the planet, specifically the Portuguese man-o-war. It consumes the jellyfish, but here is the terrifying part. It does not neutralize the poison. It steals it. The blue dragon extracts the man-o-war's potent nematocysts, stinging cells, and stores them in specialized sacs at the tips of its feathery, wing-like appendages. It concentrates this venom, making its sting far more potent and dangerous than the original jellyfish sting. This tiny, 3-centimeter sea slug, often mistaken for a piece of plastic or a lost toy, is actually a walking, floating container of stolen, hyper-weaponized venom. It is an evolutionary parasite of pure pain. If you see this creature on the sand, do not touch it. It is often concentrated in areas where the wind and currents have pushed large groups of man-o-war. The blue dragon is a testament to the ocean's ability to create lethal monsters that are both chemically and aesthetically terrifying. A perfect, small-scale example of ultimate biological genius and cruelty. If the blue dragon's concentration of stolen venom astonished you, drop a like on this video right now before we look at the giant predator from the past. Now we must confront the final, overwhelming horror before the ultimate climax, the creature that connects the familiar beach environment directly to the terror of deep history. 7. The six-gill shark. Before we reach the ultimate, unclassified mystery, we must acknowledge the sheer, primal terror that swims in the deep edges of the continental shelf, the area just beyond the popular fishing spots. We present the six-gill shark. This is the living fossil of the shallow deep. The six-gill shark's lineage is truly ancient, tracing its roots back over 200 million years to the Triassic period, a time before the major shark families had fully diversified. This creature is a walking, swimming piece of prehistory. Its primitive body plan, marked by its namesake six-gill slits, most modern sharks have 5, is a stark reminder that the ancient ocean is still operating just beneath the waves. It is one of the largest sharks on the planet, capable of reaching lengths of over 8 meters and weighing over a ton. It is the perfect colossal shadow. While it lives primarily in the deep, abyssal plains, it is known to swim up to the edge of a shallow shelf at night, making it an occasional, terrifying sight near coastal drop-offs and large docks. Its specialized teeth are designed for absolute efficiency. The lower jaw contains massive comb-like, saw-edged teeth perfect for shearing and cutting through tough hides and thick bone. It is primarily a scavenger and deep-sea undertaker, feasting on the remains of other large marine animals. The terror here is existential. This gigantic, prehistoric, opportunistic predator is swimming in the darkness, waiting for something to die or something to become vulnerable. When one of these six-gilled behemoths washes ashore, it is not just a dead shark, it is the physical realization that a creature built to survive the Triassic, Jurassic, and every extinction since is sharing the same water as you. It is the ultimate giant scavenger that connects the modern shore to the deepest, darkest evolutionary past. We have seen the ancient scavenger, the dual-jawed serpent, and the shapeless leviathan. But now, we enter the most extreme territory. The single, horrifying image from a witness who disappeared. The final creature defies all known science. Prepare yourself for the ultimate nightmare. 8. The monster of Cayo Muerto. The time for speculation is over. This is the ultimate climax of coastal terror, the ultimate nightmare of the Venezuelan shoreline. The story is pieced together from recovered metadata and chilling local reports. It begins with a lone individual, a photographer or researcher, visiting the remote, tiny island of Cayo Muerto, a location already steeped in unsettling maritime legend. The photographer noticed something unusual near the high tide line, a patch of what looked like bright red, viscous marine growth, similar to a massive, bulbous anemone. The unusual, vibrant color drew the eye, but the movement, the slow, deliberate contraction of the mass, is what triggered the camera. The photo that was ultimately recovered is the only evidence in the world of this biological anomaly. It shows a creature of absolute, disturbing biological absurdity. Its body was a thick, reddish-pink, gelatinous mass, suggesting deep-sea pressures or rapid tissue expansion outside of its normal habitat. Its front was dominated by an unhinged suction cup mouth, reminiscent of a massive deep-sea holothurian, sea cucumber, but with one terrifying, crucial difference: a dense vertical row of small, sharp, forward-facing teeth. These teeth did not look like they were designed for shearing or crushing. They looked like they were specifically evolved for anchoring and holding, for ratcheting its massive body over prey, or perhaps over rock, to prevent the currents from sweeping it away. It is a design for absolute, tenacious consumption. The recovered metadata shows the final image was taken moments before the camera was dropped or abandoned. The device was later found, but the camera's final images were the only record left. The witness vanished. Scientists have been barred from classifying this creature due to the singularity of the evidence. Possibilities range from an entirely unknown species of giant predatory holothurian that adapted a powerful toothed mouth to a highly mutated, unknown organism from the deepest trenches that surround the Caribbean plate. The horror is in the unknown. A new, terrifying species, perfectly designed for suction, anchoring, and concentrated holding, was washed ashore, observed by one person, and then disappeared back into the biological chaos, leaving only a single, haunting, and unclassified photograph. The sea gave us a glimpse of a nameless horror, and then it claimed its witness. Let me know in comments, what do you think this creature is? And hit that subscribe button to BeastFlix right now. The beaches are merely the warning. If the ocean is sending us its dead and it's unclassified, it begs the ultimate question: what horrors remain at the source? Next, we descend to the final frontier, the Mariana Trench, and reveal the evidence of the apex predator hiding in the crushing darkness. The Earth is an old story, and we believe we have read every chapter. We map our continents, chart the air we breathe, and even send probes beyond our solar system. Yet there remains one single, terrifying place that holds the key to evolution's most monstrous secret, the Mariana Trench, is not merely a deep spot on the map. It is the absolute limit of our world, a crescent-shaped scar stretching 2,500 kilometers across the western Pacific, where the pressure is a crushing 1,100 times that of the surface. We call the deepest point the Challenger Deep, but the evidence now forces us to call it something else, the sealed tomb. It is a biological prison that has paradoxically preserved a lineage that should have been extinct for millions of years. The most chilling records, buried in the vaults of naval acoustic programs and deep-sea research labs, suggest that the deepest parts of the planet are not a quiet void. They are patrolled. Something massive, something possessing a terrifying intelligence, holds dominion over the abyss. We are talking about an apex predator that survived the great oceanic extinction, a colossal hunter whose existence would shatter the timelines of modern paleontology. In the next few minutes, we will lay out the case. This is not cryptozoology, this is forensic paleontology applied to a living mystery. We will detail the 3 columns of evidence, the anomalous sound, the unaccounted for bite marks, and the geological sanctuary that transition this creature from a legend of the deep to a classified ecological reality. Prepare yourself. The darkness is about to be breached. The human ear is a poor instrument for the ocean, but the U.S. Navy's SOSUS array and its successors were designed to listen to the world's deep water secrets. In the early 2000s, deep-sea hydrophones began recording a recurring, ultra-low frequency event emanating from the abyssal plains bordering the Mariana and Philippine trenches. This was not the famous, isolated bloop of the 90s. This was something different. This was the abyssal pulse. The pulse is a sonic signature so robust that initial analysis tagged it as a massive, distant seismic event. But repeated filtering and spectral analysis revealed a devastating truth. It was biological. It contained harmonic complexity, a layered rhythmic structure that could only be generated by a complex, pulsating organic system. Specifically, the pulse is a compound sound, a deep, subsonic moan that lasts nearly 4 seconds, followed by a series of high-amplitude snapping echoes, almost like colossal, resonating sonar pings. Let's talk about the physics of fear. Sound travels nearly 5 times faster in water than in air, and low-frequency sounds travel much farther with less dissipation. For sound to travel thousands of miles, it was tracked from the western Pacific to hydrophones off the coast of South America. At a sustained intensity that cut through ambient noise, the creature generating it must possess a lung and vocal system of an unfathomable scale. We model the largest known sound producer, the blue whale, which can reach 150 metric tons and produce calls around 15 hertz. The abyssal pulse registers consistently below 5 hertz. This level of infrasound vibration requires a physical body volume, a displaced mass, that exponentially exceeds that of any modern whale. This creature isn't just big, it's a living engine. Its sound is the acoustic equivalent of a biological battleship announcing its position. Furthermore, the snapping echoes that follow the initial moan are equally significant. They are not simple clicks. They are high-amplitude, wide-spectrum bursts that suggest a highly sophisticated form of echolocation. This is not the simple ping of a toothed whale. It is a sonar system designed for navigation and hunting in absolute darkness, a system tuned to the crushing pressures of the deepest ocean. It tells us that this creature is an active, sentient predator, not a sluggish bottom dweller. Military acoustic experts initially attributed the sound to unclassified seismic sources, a designation used to mask unexplained, high-priority data. But internal documents reveal the persistent fear that the pulse is a territorial marker, a deep water challenge. What could challenge the sovereignty of an animal that size? Nothing. The pulse is simply a broadcast. This domain is mine. The sheer energy required to generate this call rules out all known deep-sea fauna, including the giant and colossal squid. It points to a vertebrate, a creature of immense muscular and skeletal scale. The abyssal pulse is the auditory proof of a massive survivor. That sound was a deep-sea shout across the timeline. But to prove it's a hunter, we need to look at its victims. We must examine the biological wreckage it leaves behind when the silence of the abyss is broken by a feeding frenzy. If the abyssal pulse is the creature's voice, the unaccounted for bite marks are its gruesome fingerprint. Deep-sea researchers, particularly those monitoring the health of migrating marine mammals, have a classified file of traumatic injuries on various species, injuries they cannot definitively attribute to any modern, confirmed predator. These attacks are not random. they show a pattern of massive, targeted violence. The primary victims are often the largest and deepest diving predators in the open ocean, particularly the sperm whale, cachalot, and the large-beaked whales. These whales are themselves apex predators, perfectly adapted to the mesopelagic and bathopelagic zones. Yet, they surface with wounds that defy logic. We are not talking about superficial rakes from a small, frantic shark. We are talking about bone-deep, semicircular incisions that sometimes span a third of the whale's circumference. Analysis of the remaining tissue scarring reveals a jaw arc that consistently exceeds 3 full meters in diameter. The great white shark, the most feared modern predator, has a maximum confirmed jaw width of approximately 1 meter. This unknown assailant possesses a mouth 3 times that size, indicating a creature that could comfortably swallow a car. Crucially, the tooth pattern is inconsistent with any modern shark or whale species. While orcas leave tearing, irregular marks, and great whites leave the distinctive serrated slice, the wounds attributed to the abyssal apex are characterized by clean, precise, deep punctures followed by massive, concentrated compression trauma. It's the mark of a jaw engineered not for quick, repetitive biting, but for a single, overwhelming crushing strike. This suggests a dentition structure, thick, robust, and non-serrated, or perhaps bluntly serrated, perfectly suited for disabling the massive, dense skeletons of deep-sea mammals. This evidence strongly echoes the bite dynamics of the extinct Carcharocal's Megalodon, the legendary giant shark. Megalodon teeth were built for bone crushing, designed to attack the toughest parts of its prey, like the ribcage or flukes of ancient whales. The teeth of the abyss predator appear to be a high-pressure, depth-adapted version of this design. But the most terrifying aspect of the bite mark file is the location of the attack. Many of these prey animals are encountered at extreme depths, often below 1,500 meters, in areas where the ocean temperature plunges and sunlight is non-existent. This confirms the attacker is not a transient surface predator. It is an abyssal resident that ascends on its own schedule, choosing prey based on sheer caloric density. One highly classified report details the retrieval of a deceased adult sperm whale carcass near the Palau Trench. The animal had been attacked from below, and the wound, a massive void in its lower abdomen, was ringed by marks that strongly suggested a bilateral attack mechanism characteristic of the lower jaw meeting the upper. In the wound cavity, lodged deep in the bone, a research submersible retrieved a single, oddly calcified fragment. Chemical analysis was inconclusive, but the size and density matched nothing in the modern biological database. It was filed under unidentified marine biota, type Apex alpha. The marks are not only proof of the hunter, they are a direct line back to its ancient, colossal lineage. The surface world fears the great white, but the great whales of the deep fear something that comes from the ultimate dark. We have the sound and the scar. Now, we must understand the mechanics of the only place that could host such a terror, the trench itself. To maintain a body mass required to generate the abyssal pulse and inflict the crushing bite marks we've detailed, the creature needs a perfect ecological niche. The Mariana Trench provides it. It is not just a deep hole, it is a meticulously preserved apex sanctuary, a zone of absolute geological and thermal stability that served as a bomb shelter against global extinction. The key is deep-sea gigantism, a phenomenon we see replicated in many invertebrates in the deep. From the giant isopod to the colossal squid, organisms in the cold, high-pressure, food-scarce abyss evolved to be disproportionately massive compared to their shallow water counterparts. Why? First, Kleiber's law dictates that larger animals are exponentially more energy efficient. At constant, near-freezing temperaturas, the metabolic rate of a massive creature slows to a crawl. The Megalodon abyssalis doesn't need to eat every day. It only needs to feed on a large caloric source, a single massive whale, perhaps once every 6 to 8 months. Its colossal bulk becomes a biological battery, storing energy efficiently and conserving heat according to Bergmann's rule, which favors size in colder climates. Second, the pressure is not a killer, it is a stabilizer. The extreme pressure of the hadal zone below 6,000 meters actually promotes larger cell and protein structures that are less susceptible to the effects of gravity and physical wear and tear. This environment not only favors size, it promotes longevity. The creature likely has a lifespan measured in centuries, not decades, giving it a vast evolutionary advantage. Now consider the extinction event that killed the true Megalodon, the Pliocene cooling period. As global temperatures dropped, the warm, shallow nursery grounds where juvenile megalodons thrived vanished. Their primary prey, slow-moving whales, were replaced by faster, deeper-diving baleen species. For a creature confined to the sunlit zone, it was a death sentence. But the abyss predator was already below the thermocline, the layer of rapid temperature change. It was already in the stable, 4 degrees Celsius environment. Its prey had adapted by diving deeper, unwittingly bringing themselves right to the trench's doorstep. As the surface world froze and convulsed, the trench remained stable, perpetual night. The creature didn't need to evolve into a new species, it simply needed to endure a slightly lower, more efficient metabolic rate, adapting its eyes for bioluminescence and its hunting methods for silent, deep water ambushes. It survived by retreat. The Mariana Trench, with its vast mineral-rich hydrothermal vents and its constant supply of chemical energy, provides an essential, secondary food web, the perfect, self-contained recharge station for a slow-moving giant. It is a world sealed off, a parallel evolution that we are only now beginning to intersect. The combination of all 3 facts is the complete picture of a horror movie made real. The abyssal pulse is its global reach. The unaccounted for bite marks are its biological proof. And the Mariana Trench is its unbreakable, silent fortress. We are not looking for a fossil. We are looking for an ecological sovereign whose lineage predates our own civilization. Its survival is a testament to the fact that on our own planet, the history books are incomplete, and the monsters are not all mythological. The realization is not simply that the megalodon, or something greater, may still exist. The terrifying implication is that we have unknowingly shared an ocean with a creature that has mastered the ultimate survival strategy, absolute concealment. Every time a submersible has neared the Challenger Deep, every time a research vessel has dropped its instruments, it has been in the domain of this creature. Was the famous biotwang, a noise initially dismissed as a bride's whale call, actually a warning flare? Was the slight metallic scraping reported by the Trias crew in 1960 merely a small piece of geological debris, or was it the sound of something immense brushing past the hull? The classified files are full of small, dismissible anomalies that, when viewed through the lens of a living apex cryptid, suddenly assemble into a mosaic of fear. The only reason we have survived its presence is that its prey remains abundant enough for it to stay deep. It is a creature of immense caloric need, but also immense metabolic efficiency. It only ascends to the twilight zone for the largest meals. Its behavior is a terrifying mirror of our own. Maximum impact for minimum effort. We are now on the verge of the next generation of Hadal exploration. New submersibles, rated to withstand the extreme pressures, will soon breach the absolute darkness of the trench floor with persistent, high-definition cameras. The time for denial is over. The time for myth is over. The moment is approaching when the classified file will become a global headline. And when that happens, we will learn the true meaning of the term apex predator. The Mariana Trench is not just the deepest place on Earth. It is the last hiding place for a living terror. Its silence is its greatest weapon. To continue this critical search, to purchase the necessary ultra-deep water sonar arrays and the high-resolution, pressure-compensated cameras that can finally pierce the veil of the Hadal Zone, we must secure our funding goal. The abyss is proven. Now we dive into the ancient history of the seafloor. We go back 400 million years to the era of the arthropod. Next, the sea scorpions that defied all extinction events and still hunt today. Today, we unearth 5 of these prehistoric ocean scorpions that should be extinct. We start with the swift trapper, move through the armored fortress, and the beasts that conquered 2 worlds. If these creatures existed today, human history would look very different. They were massive leviathans built from pure, unadulterated predation. They are the biological nightmares that should be confined to the fossil record, but their existence is a cold, hard fact. But you must stay for the last one, because the final creature was the largest arthropod to ever live, a 10-foot titan whose sheer, ungodly scale made the megalodon look like a footnote. This is the truth about the monsters that ruled the primordial seas. Number 5. Mixopterus. Our journey into the darkest chapters of paleontology begins with our 5th terrifying subject, the Mixopterus. This creature, existing during the late Silurian period, introduced a new level of horror to the marine ecosystem through the brutal specialization of its grasping limbs. While not the largest on our list, typically reaching lengths of around 3 feet, the Mixopterus was a master of ambush and retention, a predator that solved the problem of catching fast, slippery prey with a terrifying organic trap. The most striking and disturbing feature of the Mixopterus was its pair of enormous, highly modified second walking legs. These limbs were evolutionary masterpieces of capture. They were massive, elongated, and possessed numerous robust joints, allowing for a wide, lightning-fast swing. But the true horror lay in their design. Each of these appendages was heavily lined with long, fixed, razor-sharp spines. These spines were angled inward, ensuring that once the limb closed around its prey, escape was literally impossible. Imagine a heavily armored creature hiding in the dense weeds or under rocks, waiting for an unsuspecting trilobite or early fish to swim past. In a blur of motion, the Mixopterus would thrust out these spined arms, sweeping the victim into its body. The action was less a pincer attack and more a violent embrace of razor wire, quickly incapacitating the prey by tearing the flesh and securing it for the smaller chelicerae to process. This made the Mixopterus a highly effective hunter in complex, cluttered environments, such as reefs and shallow coastal zones where agile fish sought shelter. It did not need the raw speed of others. It needed only to wait, deploy its organic trap, and watch its victim bleed out into the water. Its dominance was a chilling testament to the power of specialized limbs in the evolutionary arms race. Next, we move to a creature of slightly greater size that preferred a straight-shot kill. Our number 4 predator used its specialized claws with surgical, hydrodynamic precision. Number 4, Octopus. Our descent into the primeval abyss of ancient terror begins with the 4th most impressive, yet no less chilling, of these sea scorpions, Octopus. This creature was the swift assassin of the early Devonian, a masterclass in streamlined, hydrodynamic precision and specialized killing. While the sea scorpions of this era are generally defined by overwhelming size, Octopus offered a different, more chilling proposition: the perfection of the kill through speed. It was a machine built for rapid interception and flawless execution. The average Octopus was a massive beast, capable of reaching lengths of up to 7 feet. Its body plan was the epitome of a predatory torpedo, narrow, segmented, and designed to minimize drag. This morphology allowed it to cut through the water column with a terrifying velocity, a sudden, dark blur in the murky coastal ecosystems it called home. It was the absolute opposite of the slow, grinding hunters of the deep. It was the hunter of the open, shallow seas where vision and speed were paramount. But the real, true horror of Octopus lay in its grotesque and highly specialized primary weapons, its chelicerae. These were not the crushing claws of a lobster. They were elongated, multi-jointed, scissor-like appendages that terminated in a wicked, sickle-shaped pincer. Crucially, these pincers were not smooth. They were lined with a series of incredibly sharp, interlocking teeth, giving the impression of a massive pair of prehistoric surgical shears. These claws were purpose-built not for crushing, but for rapid slicing, secure gripping, and devastating tearing of soft tissues or the vulnerable membranes between the armor plates of its prey. Paleontological evidence suggests that Octopus preferred to target the rapidly evolving early-jawed fish and the vast, slow-moving populations of trilobites. It would exploit its hydrodynamic advantage to ambush its victims, closing the distance in a sudden, violent, high-speed rush. Once engaged, the slicing claws would come into play, rapidly securing the prey while simultaneously dismembering it. The speed of this action, combined with the gruesome efficiency of the chelicerae, meant that any creature caught in its grasp had mere seconds before its fate was sealed. Its sophisticated hunting technology was further supported by its visual acuity. Octopus possessed prominent compound eyes that offered an almost panoramic field of view, allowing it to track and anticipate the movements of its prey in the relatively clear coastal waters. It was a relentless pursuer, a biological instrument honed to an edge of terrifying perfection. This creature truly defined the concept of specialized predation in the Paleozoic seas, relying on its agility to outmaneuver the more lumbering life forms of its time. Its power was absolute, yet defined by precision. This raises the critical question of survival. How did any creature survive the attack of an animal built for such surgical, relentless speed? The next creature's answer was becoming a biological fortress. But first, if these primeval predators are redefining what you thought was possible in the ancient world, hit the like button and subscribe now to join our next expedition into deep time. Number 3. Hybrotopterus. If the Octopus was the specialized swift assassin, our number 3 prehistoric ocean scorpion, Hibbertopterus, represents a terrifying counter-strategy, the armored siege engine built for absolute survival and inevitable consumption. Existing across the late Devonian and into the Carboniferous periods, this was a creature that entirely rejected speed and agility, favoring instead a philosophy of overwhelming, terrifying impenetrability. While its maximum length of around 6 feet makes it seem slightly less colossal than others on this list, its sheer mass, width, and defensive engineering make it a unique and truly disturbing nightmare. It was built extremely low to the ground, with a broad, massive, and heavily arched carapace that gives it the profile of a terrifying, self-propelled bunker. It was the very definition of a biological fortress, a slow-moving dreadnought that feared nothing in the cold, primordial depths. The horror of Hibbertopterus is rooted in its defensive mastery. Its entire body, from the carapace down to the very edges of its segmented tail, was covered in incredibly thick, heavily tuberculated plating. This dense, bumpy texture was not merely decorative. It was a form of integrated armor that would have made it virtually impossible for the teeth, primitive jaws, or crushing claws of any contemporary predator to gain purchase or breach the shell. This armor was its license to ignore all threats. It moved with a slow, deliberate, almost inexorable creep across the soft, muddy seabed, an unstoppable force in the benthic environment. But it is the feeding strategy of the Hibbertopterus that truly solidifies its claim as a creature that should be extinct. It did not hunt with the slashing violence of Octopus, nor the brute force of others on this list. Instead, Hibbertopterus developed an utterly unique and frankly disturbing method of predation: sweep feeding or vacuum feeding. Its 4 anterior walking legs were not used for locomotion. They were highly specialized appendages covered in dense, fine, outward-facing bristles, resembling an enormous, organic brush or rake. As the massive, armored body lumbered across the soft, organic-rich seabed, the creature would use these specialized appendages to rapidly sweep and disturb the substrate. This action would stir up the mud, dislodging and suspending all the small, soft-bodied organisms, worms, and organic detritus hidden within the silt. The creature would then utilize a highly specialized structure in its mouth, a feeding chamber with internal spines, to effectively vacuum up the disturbed muddy water, ingesting everything indiscriminately. This method paints a picture of absolute, terrifying efficiency, an unstoppable, heavily armored behemoth, not chasing its prey, but simply consuming the ground it walks upon. It was the ultimate non-selective, environment-erasing feeding machine, eliminating all life in its path simply by processing the very foundation of the ecosystem. The Hibbertopterus was the ruler of the oxygen-poor depths, content to scrape the ocean floor clean of all life. But our number 2 was so ambitious, it defied the sea itself and crawled out of the water to hunt. We discussed the proof that one of these scorpions was the first predator to terrorize 2 different worlds. Number 2, Megalograptus. The mere name, Megalograptus, translates roughly to great writing thing, a mild, almost academic descriptor that utterly fails to capture the sheer scale and biological horror of our number 2 prehistoric ocean scorpion. Roaming the Ordovician period, long before the age of fish, Megalograptus was an amphibious apex predator whose very existence smashed the established boundary between aquatic and terrestrial life. It was a groundbreaking, colossal terror whose presence would have darkened the shallow seas and haunted the primordial coastlines. The creature was immense, with a total length often exceeding 5.5 feet, a staggering size for its time. However, the most immediate and truly shocking feature of the Megalograptus was its twin primary appendages. These were not the delicate pincers of a modern arthropod. Instead, imagine 2 oversized, powerfully articulated limbs, each ending not in a simple grasping claw, but a massive, bulbous, club-like structure that was terrifyingly functional. These clubs were lined with a series of razor-sharp, inwardly curving spines and defensive denticles. These were not just grasping tools, they were spearing, crushing, and pinning instruments designed to lock prey in a devastating, inescapable grip and then puncture or shatter their bodies. The claws were hinged and muscular, capable of delivering immense, rapid trauma to the soft-bodied and lightly armored creatures that made up the Ordovician fauna. This was an offensive weapon of staggering power and complexity, a pre-programmed killing apparatus designed for maximum lethality. But the feature that elevates Megalograptus into the realm of true, groundbreaking terror is the undeniable fossil evidence that suggests it was the first terrestrial macropredator. During the Ordovician, life was only beginning its tentative, vulnerable colonization of the barren landmasses. While primitive plants had managed the leap, large animals were confined to the water. Megalograptus, however, possessed muscular, wide paddle-like limbs initially used for powerful swimming. Crucially, the fossil record includes enormous, perfectly preserved trackways found in what were once tidal flats and coastal muds. These tracks, often over 3 feet wide and found considerable distances from the permanent waterline, are undeniable proof the Megalograptus would intentionally crawl out of the ocean. This amphibious capability was not for basking, it was for hunting. Picture this chilling scenario. You are one of the first small, soft-bodied pioneers of the terrestrial ecosystem, bravely venturing onto the ancient, misty mudflats to feed on early microbial mats. Suddenly, a 6-foot armored behemoth, covered in spines and ending in gigantic, spiked clubs, emerges from the receding tide. It is an image of pure, primeval, inescapable horror. For a critical period, the Megalograptus was the unchallenged, unstoppable lord of 2 domains, an amphibious nightmare terrorizing life from the tidal zone to the shallow pools. It was a giant, but the king awaits. The final creature on our list is the reason the entire era is named after its dominance. Its sheer scale will redefine what you believe is possible in nature. But before we unleash the greatest predator on this list, the absolute king of the Eurypterids, if this journey into the abyss has stirred your own deep-time fears, then take a moment to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Now let us conclude our countdown with the 10-foot Leviathan that was the ultimate, horrifying peak of invertebrate evolution. Number 1. Pterygotus. We have examined speed, armor, and amphibious terror. Now we arrive at the absolute, final word in prehistoric oceanic nightmares. Every animal on this list is an aberration, but there is one that stands above them all, a creature whose dominance was so complete and its physical size so overwhelming that its fossil discoveries often look like pieces of science fiction. Our number 1 prehistoric ocean scorpion is the Pterygotus. This creature was not merely a large predator, it was the supreme, undisputed apex predator of the Silurian and early Devonian periods. Its sheer ungodly size places it in a category of its own, a true, chitinous leviathan reaching an absolute, staggering length of 8 to 10 feet. Allow that number to sink in. Imagine a creature longer than a king-sized bed, heavier than a large refrigerator, built from segmented armor plating, possessing 8-jointed legs, powerful swimming paddles, and a massive, flexible tail. This was the unchallenged monarch of its world, a giant arthropod that outweighed and outmatched every contemporary fish, early shark, and primitive jawless creature. Its very existence enforced a brutal, cold-blooded reign of terror that spanned millions of years. The Pterygotus achieved its ultimate apex status through a brutal combination of sheer, overwhelming scale and a final, horrifying evolutionary refinement of the killing claw. Its primary offensive weapons, its chelicerae, were gigantic, elongated, and ended in what paleontologists refer to as racket-like cutting and crushing pincers. These claws were not just large, they were meticulously serrated and perfectly designed for maximum leverage. They could not only grasp and hold the slipperiest of prey with inescapable force, but they were also powerful enough to crush the heavy shells of trilobites and slice through the reinforced armor plates of the heavily armored placoderm fish, which were only beginning to evolve. Its immense size meant that Pterygotus could ambush and dispatch any living thing in its ecosystem. Furthermore, the enormous size and sophisticated structure of its compound eyes suggest it was also a visually oriented hunter, patrolling the shallow, productive coastal seas with a cold, unrelenting, and efficient focus. The creature was the ultimate expression of the predatory ideal, a silent, unstoppable engine of destruction. The sheer overwhelming scale and the perfection of the Pterygotus's design made its existence a nightmare for all other life. It was a hunter so perfectly adapted, so overwhelmingly powerful, that the only thing that could challenge its dominance was the slow, inexorable forces of evolution itself, which would eventually lead to the rise of the fast, agile, true bony fish that would eventually dethrone the arthropod kings. The Pterygotus stands as the ultimate symbol of sea scorpion terror, a 10-foot armor titan, the most complete and horrifying expression of invertebrate nightmare the world has ever known. What ancient terror on this list do you think should have been allowed to survive? Let us know in the comments below. We have survived the ancient past, but some creatures challenge not time, but logic itself. This next organism is a biological anomaly so vast, so silent, and so rare that for a century, scientists believed it was just a ghost story. Next, the creature they filmed in the deep ocean that shouldn't exist. A group of divers descended near an abandoned oil rig off the coast of the Pacific, expecting nothing more than rusted debris and silence. The mission was routine: survey the wreckage, inspect structural integrity, and perhaps capture footage of the eerie marine life that often gathers around these forgotten steel skeletons. They were prepared for darkness, maybe a few flashes of movement, but what they captured should not exist. The footage leaked only once, shared briefly on a dark corner of the internet, then vanished. And what it shows defies everything we understand about biology. It doesn't resemble any known species. It moved like nothing cataloged by science. No bones, no symmetry, no visible organs. Just a pulsating mass, undulating in silence, reacting visibly to both light and sound. Some say it's a form of deep-sea life we've never encountered. Others say it's not from Earth at all. But before we go any further, you need to see it. This specific segment, the one that rattled the crew to their core, lasted exactly 9 seconds. The raw footage shows a bioluminescent form hovering just meters from the diver's camera. It doesn't swim. It doesn't float. It just moves gently, almost hypnotically, like it's breathing in slow motion. No face, no eyes, just this shifting, translucent horror, glowing softly in cold blues and violent purples, like it was made of thoughts instead of matter. When reviewed by a marine biologist, the footage was dismissed instantly as a jellyfish anomaly. But a forensic video analyst, one who specializes in underwater phenomena, saw something more. Frame by frame, slowed to fractions of a second, the creature's movement became intentional. It didn't just hover. It mirrored, matched, mimicked, almost as if, he wrote, it was learning. This wasn't a passive encounter. It was interaction. A silent, chilling dance with the unknown. And then the consequences came. After the dive, one of the crew members never resurfaced. The others, silent. They emerged pale, shaken, visibly traumatized, and bound by strict non-disclosure agreements. Their footage was deleted from every known database. Hard drives wiped clean, cloud backups gone. All but this one clip. Corrupted, fragmented, forgotten, but real. So the question remains, what exactly did they encounter? Could it have been a previously undiscovered deep-sea life form, something that evolved so far from surface life that it no longer shares features with anything we know? Or was it part of a clandestine military bioweapon experiment, escaped and now lurking in places where few dare to look? Or worse, was it something ancient, something that's been there longer than we've existed, something not bound by our biology or our laws of life? The ocean is vast. Over 80% of it remains unexplored, and that's not by accident. Because what if this isn't the only footage? What if this isn't even the first? In classified circles, there are whispers of similar encounters, strange shapes near trenches, static disruption near sonar scans, deep-sea shadows that move like predators but leave no heat, no tracks, no explanation. One such case, a black box fragment recovered near the Mariana Trench, dated 2006. The diver's final transmission.
It's not following me. It's waiting.
We may never get all the answers, and maybe that's the point. But if this footage is real, if even a part of it is real, then everything we know about Earth's oceans changes. Because then it's not about believing in sea monsters. It's about asking why we've stopped looking for them. And just maybe, why some don't want us to. This isn't the end. In fact, it's only the beginning. We've seen the impossible ghost of the deep, but we save the most intelligent, most alien terror for last. Next, we present the top 3 cephalopods, the true masters of disguise and intelligence, including the colossal creature from our thumbnail. The octopus is the single most intelligent invertebrate on Earth. Its brain structure, its distributed nervous system, and its capacity for complex problem solving are unmatched by anything without a spine. is a sentient machine housed in a soft shell of muscle and cunning. What happens when that sophisticated, planning intelligence is merged with the brutal, hostile, and disassociative horror of the deep sea environment? We saved the most visually impossible creatures for this segment. The following 3 cephalopods are not just monsters, they are conscious, thinking entities that prove the abyss is a dimension of true, intelligent nightmares. They defy chemistry, defy physics, and defy the very laws of visibility. Prepare for the top 3, the most alien cephalopods that defy biology. Number 3, the glass octopus. Our countdown begins in the mesopelagic zone, the twilight zone, but involves a creature that has mastered the art of functional invisibility. At first glance, the glass octopus appears to be nothing more than a shimmering, gelatinous mirage. Its body is almost entirely transparent, a perfect hydrodynamic crystal suspended in the perpetual gloom. It is the ultimate ghost of the deep, a creature whose only defense is that its entire internal architecture is visible to the naked eye. This transparency is a radical biological decision. In the deep sea, light from above is faint, but predators from below are always looking up. By becoming transparent, the octopus eliminates its silhouette entirely, offering nothing for a deep-sea shark or large fish to fixate on. It blends not by color or texture, but by total negation of physical presence. Yet its invisibility is incomplete, and that is where the terror resides. You can see the blueprint of its intelligence. If you look closely, 3 organs remain visible, creating an eerie, almost holographic effect: the optic nerve, the complex digestive glands, and most prominently, the 2 crescent-shaped eyeballs. These organs must maintain their pigment and density to function, meaning they stand out like glowing internal beacons within the field of glass. It is a paradox of vulnerability and perfection. The glass octopus is a genius of disguise that cannot fully hide the tools of its intellect or the machinery of its consumption. The glass octopus is a triumph of camouflage at the expense of all physical armor. But what happens when transparency is not an option and the only solution is to build an armor out of pure water? Our next cephalopod operates in a dimension of total physical destruction. Number 2, the Dumbo octopus. We leave the twilight zone behind and dive into the crushing darkness of the abyssal zone, often below 13,000 feet. This depth is the realm of the Dumbo octopus, the deepest living of all known cephalopods. The sheer physical horror of its environment, pressures that exceed 6,000 pounds per square inch, capable of flattening a steel submarine hull, is entirely contradicted by its appearance. This is the creature that challenges our cognitive functions, forcing a moment of disassociation. It is impossibly cute, yet terrifyingly adapted. Named for the large, ear-like fins that sprout from the top of its bell-shaped mantle, reminiscent of Disney's flying elephant, the Dumbo octopus uses these appendages to gracefully paddle and navigate the frigid, near-freezing water just above the seafloor. The dissonance is jarring. How can a creature that looks like a whimsical, soft-bodied cartoon character survive in an environment where rock itself begins to fracture? The answer lies in the total surrender of complexity. Its soft, gelatinous body is not a weakness. It is a meticulously evolved biological armor. At these extreme depths, heavy mineralized structures, like bone, shell, or hard muscle, are brittle and prone to structural failure. The Dumbo octopus eliminates this problem entirely. Its tissues have evolved to maintain the exact same density as the surrounding water, making it immune to the pressure. Its body is a sophisticated, pressure-resistant hydrosuit. This soft, pliable form is also energy efficient. It doesn't rely on the powerful jet propulsion common in shallower octopuses. Instead, it glides using the ears and its webbing of short arms to drift and catch prey, mostly copepods, worms, and small crustaceans that it simply engulfs whole. It is a creature of maximal biological economy. We have seen the invisible ghost and the creature that laughs at pressure. But now we reveal the one creature whose colossal size and highly developed intelligence confirm the greatest, most primal fear of all. The sea contains sentient monsters that can plan, learn, and outsmart us. Number 1, the giant Pacific octopus. This is not a myth. This is not the deep abyss. This is your coastal nightmare. The giant Pacific octopus is the largest and most intelligent octopus species, growing to colossal size, with recorded weights exceeding 150 pounds and arm spans reaching over 30 feet. This creature is not relegated to the lightless trenches. It lives in the frigid waters of the North Pacific, often inhabiting the rocky crevices and shallow kelp forests of the continental shelf, the very areas where fishing, diving, and human exploration are common. This creature's size is only half the threat. Its intelligence is the other. The GPO is the marine equivalent of a non-human mastermind. Documented studies have repeatedly shown GPOs executing feats of advanced problem-solving that are supposed to be exclusive to vertebrates. A monster that is both gigantic and possesses the ability to learn, plan, and execute complex strategies is the ultimate Thalassophobia trigger. This creature can open a screw-top jar, dismantle a scuba regulator, and emerge from a hole the size of its own eyeball, all while weighing over 100 pounds and spanning the length of small bus. The GPO is the proof that the ocean's intelligence is immense and physically overwhelming. It exists not just in the fantasy of a colossal squid, but in the sentient, multi-limbed architect hiding in the rocks just off your coastline. Its sheer scale combined with its planning capacity confirms the greatest fear of all. The deep sea is populated by highly developed, sentient beings who watch, learn, and plot their existence entirely outside of our awareness. You survived 90 minutes of impossible life. The deep sea is not a myth. It is a reality that defies everything we know. Share this video if we broke your view of the world.